You just tweeted. You turned off the tweet and it fucking tweeted.
Oh my god.
Restream, not cool. It just tweeted a default thing.
No, wait. If it was,
might have been Twitch.
it might have been.
That might have been a Twitch notification.
No, it's probably the Periscope one. The Periscope one's fine.
Okay. It says you're live. Well,
we can hear
first
you. The question
it would have
is,
to load it all.
Can we hear you on the stream, which won't load? Did the stream ever load for you? Hello?
It never loaded. It never loaded for.
Oh, you can.
Oh,
Okay.
good. That's something. We have video now. That's something. Is there any audio? Somebody says they have video. I don't.
Yeah, you'll have to reload it, it looks like.
I don't. Fine. Exit Twitch. Open it again. There's no reload button. I'm sorry. This is normal. Hour and a half is about all we can brain. There you are. Cool. Hey, I see the video now. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, that's normal. It's always a delay. That's like intended.
Okay, but do we hear hello?
Okay.
Do we hear hello?
I hear... No, we do not hear Hillel. I see his mouth moving, and I do not hear him.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, Hillel just said, you could be like, great, Hillel, great thing you said there, XYZ. No, we do not hear Hillel.
Oh my god. I think we should postpone this.
Until stuff works.
Until
hey, look! I turned it on.
What did you do?
It was muted.
Oh. It was muted?
Yeah,
Where?
see, this? It looked like that.
Oh my god.
Which I took as, look, that's the mute button. But no, that's the unmute button. Well, we figured it out.
Well, we're not sure that people can hear me yet.
Oh. Okay. We're waiting for the delay.
Okay.
Okay, they can hear you. Great. All right. The level is a little high. You might want to turn it down.
It appears to be adjusting itself.
That was I touched
that was your
it.
touch.
I touched
Okay.
it.
Well, good job.
Thanks. Okay, I think we're good. So the trick was to threaten it with postponement.
Yes.
Hey, look, we opened Alloy.
Am I still loud?
We turned it down.
Yeah, we adjusted
Okay.
it on this side.
Yeah. Zara says you're fine.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh, wait. Arosian said hello was much louder, but did we turn it down enough?
That was a bit early ago.
Right.
Man, Twitch needs timestamps.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so we want to
Thanks
learn
for your
about...
patience, everyone.
Yeah. This is why I don't do this without beer. I mean,
So what are you drinking today?
Ooh, okay, so today I have a Four Hands, which is the St. Louis brewery, Exit Strategy. That sounds pretty good. Sour IPA with lactose, peach, and vanilla. It's very lactosey, really. Otherwise,
I've been
great.
wanting to try this.
Yay.
Huh.
Don't
All right.
hate it?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay.
I am
Those are
drinking.
definitely flavors.
Ooh, that's
I'm
pretty.
drinking. It is orange juice and apricot brandy.
Nice.
It's become my go-to quarantine drink.
Nice.
When, a lot like orange juice and amaretto, I bet. Yeah, that sounds great. Let's put apricot brandy on the list.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can combine it with the Kirschwasser.
Anyway, Alloy.
Alloy.
Yeah, we went
Alloy.
through, like, no, you saw our video where we went through
Yep.
like the first
I
interesting bit of the tutorial.
So just for people who are in the chat, I can just quickly explain. I am one of the people on the Alloy board. I am not representing the Alloy board in this stream. This is just my personal opinions and thoughts, but I'm currently working on overhauling the documentation. So the first phase of that was writing a new reference for online. And that went up, I think, about last week, 2 weeks ago. Can't tell with quarantine time anymore.
Yeah, really.
And once we basically get that into once we've sort of like gone through that, people have like given us our feedback, we can improve that. And the next project I really want to work on is writing a new tutorial, because the current tutorial is, I believe, a holdover from Alloy 3 that was updated.
It
But more
looks like it's
importantly,
from the 90s.
yeah. But more importantly, the issue is that we've learned a lot about how to teach Alloy better since that was written. For example, you didn't get to model finding, you only got to model checking.
There's a finding.
So yes, I think somebody brought that up on Twitter.
Oh,
Yeah, Jay, I think Jay did. But basically, these days what we find is much better to teach people. So the thing is that you're using Alloy to find counterexamples to your domain, right? Where it might violate some of your assumptions. We find it actually much easier for people to start with and more useful for a lot of people to have it generate examples of their domain with certain properties.
Great.
Yeah. So let me give you one quick example right now. Try writing down the following: sig node. This is one of my favorite. Actually, I can probably just send it to you on. I can send it to you on Zoom.
The signature. Sig is a keyword.
Okay.
Yeah.
You usually capitalize the sigs, don't you?
This is
yeah.
super laggy.
I just sent it to you on Zoom.
Zoom chat.
No.
Where's the chat?
Over
You want me to, I can also put it on Twitch if you want, if that's easier for you.
Oh, we got it.
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, we should probably run this without Docker. But then Avdi would need to install Java first.
Okay, and now try running this. Execute.
Click the button.
Yeah, click the
One
execute
thing
button.
I noticed about execute was that it seemed to like.
It runs the last one you executed from the menu. What I actually do is if you hit Alt XA very quickly, it will just run all of the modules because it will go through the thing. That's actually one of the major UI improvements we want to make in the near future, is to add a CLI so people can start using this from the VS Code and stuff. We think that'll help a lot with improving accessibility. So now if you click on instance found.
True. Okay.
Over here.
Instance
Yeah.
found. Predicate is consistent.
It will now give you examples that satisfy, right now just the empty instance. So like it'll give you any possible instance that'll satisfy it. Click that button. And you can click next to go through examples.
Oh,
Where's next? Oh, okay.
It's in the menu bar. Can I annotate your screen?
Due to
there we go.
Settings,
Yeah,
every atom is.
Don't worry about that. Click next again.
Okay.
I can explain what that means, but I think that it would probably like.
Maybe it's empty.
It means that like oh yeah, actually here's a good thing. It found a model with no nodes whatsoever. It said you didn't give any requirements whatsoever. So an empty model is totally valid, right?
It seems to have found a lot of those.
So now try the
frozen up.
Oh.
That's surprising. So now try closing this out.
Error. Hey.
Oh. Okay, so that's a unrelated. I know what that issue is. I think it's probably specifically because you're running it from Docker. And does Docker have like a lot of compute power on it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's limited to one CPU.
Okay, so, but it has like the full CPU, right?
Maybe.
At most.
Okay,
but who knows what OBS is doing?
Fun fact: model checking is expensive. But you see, it's giving you examples. Now, what we can also do is I can have it generate specific examples. Like I can have it only generate examples that don't have a cycle.
Okay. Does this one have a cycle?
Yeah, this has a cycle. Node 1 connects to itself.
Oh yeah, trivial cycle.
And to do that, we'd want to do run. I'm going to chat this to you again, and it would be something like, and I'm just going to give you the fancy way of writing. Actually, I'm going to give you the simple way of writing it.
I want like the most detailed. I want all the words written out kind of way of writing it.
So I just sent you a thing, and that will only give you examples that do not have a cycle.
Okay, so that says run, and we require that there's no node n such that n is in its non-reflexive transitive closure of the edge relationship?
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, go paste that in.
All right. Is this to append to what was already there?
You can do either
Doesn't
one.
really matter. But then choose from the execute menu.
Again, or just hit Alt XA. That's what I always do.
Oh, well, I don't want to run all of them. I only want to run the second one.
Okay. Also, do you see how it has a really dumb name?
Yeah.
Here, try the following. Put before it
Like
a string, like the following. Try putting the following. Like, you'll be able to see this. Everybody in the stream in just a second. Basically, put a token with a colon before it.
Oh, okay. I'll label.
Yeah.
No cycles, colon. Oh, I would have guessed that it would be run, no cycles, curly braces, because that's like how SIGs are named.
Yeah, this is basically for legacy reasons. We're trying to minimize changing the syntax itself, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
It could be both. Okay.
Yeah, so now how it says run no cycles for 5. Now click on the instance. So one node without any, that counts, no cycles.
Node.
Here.
Okay, next. Does next have a hotkey? Let's see.
All right, let's try next.
Nothing. Node 1 and node 2 with no relation to each other. That
Yeah.
is no cycles.
Yeah. And this might inspire you to add more facts or predicates.
Yeah, like there's at least a node.
Yeah. Or at least some edge.
Now, facts and predicates are going to be global to the model, whereas what we've given here is a predicate that's like specific to the run.
Yeah, it's saying find models that match this predicate.
Okay, so
Now, yeah, click next a couple more times because I do want to show one last cool thing before we go into your problem.
Yay.
That you might find useful. Click next a couple more times. Let's find something that's really gnarly.
It's thinking.
Okay.
That's not.
Yeah, if you run this natively, it takes about like a fraction of a millisecond to find the next model. This is
so
only because you're running in Docker.
It's probably less because I'm running in Docker. Well, that might be part of it.
But also Zoom and OBS.
Zoom and OBS at the same time pretty much brings the computer to its knees.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting. Yeah, because okay, that's actually good. Now click Evaluator. Now type in Edge.
Edge. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, just Edge. Just hit Edge.
So there's the edges from node 0 to 2 and node 1 to 0.
So
and I don't know why they're in a box.
That's just how it's formatted. I think that's an option you can change.
Guessing that's actually a table.
It's essentially a relation showing for each edge, it's showing where it goes from and what it maps to. So it's saying that edge maps node 1 to node 0 and maps node 0 to node 2.
Okay.
And this evaluator is basically a full-on REPL. You can test arbitrary like expressions in here. You can sort of try experiments. You can sort of test predicates to learn more about your model.
So could I say...
You can't define new stuff, but you can run expressions.
That there's one node n. I know it's n colon node.
Yeah.
N colon node such that n dot edge is of size 1.
Yeah, 1 n dot edge.
False. I didn't expect that.
Because there's 2 nodes that have exactly 1 edge.
Oh, and I said 1.
Yeah, if you do some, it'll be 1 or more.
Some. True. Okay, so I could have said, and it's got the up arrow, so it's a REPL. That I could say there's exactly 1 that has no edges.
Yes.
Ah, true.
And here's actually one more thing. Try writing try writing the transitive closure of edge.
Oh, just caret edge?
Yeah. So now it gives you...
Okay, node 1 can reach node 0 and 2. Node 0 can reach node 2. In the transitive, let's do the reflexive one with the star.
Yeah. This one's... Oh, yeah.
numbers, but
Oh yeah, that's because numbers aren't connected. It's basically, it's a way that there are numbers in this model too. Like you can say, is the cardinality greater than 3? Is there more than 3 elements in the set? And because of one thing I want to talk about later is why Alloy makes a lot of the choices it does. It makes a lot of the choices for very specific, very important reasons. And one consequence of this is that numbers are actually signatures in the system.
okay, so that you have more than lone, one, and some.
Yeah. For example, you can write hashtag. You can write like hashtag like capital node equals 2 to say there are exactly 2 nodes.
Hashtag.
Yeah.
Okay, so the number of nodes is 3.
Yeah.
That's like the hashtag is a number sign.
Yeah. And you can even write hashtag edge to get the number of edge relationships in the system. Yeah, so this is how we tend to prefer to sort of like introduce Alloy nowadays, where it's like, here, this can generate models that like match a requirement of yours, and you can play around these models to learn properties about them. Yeah.
And then you can ask, like, does this make sense? And if it doesn't
Yes.
make sense, you might want to go back and add a fact.
Yep.
And a fact, tell me if I'm right here, because I made this up. A fact represents something that you would expect your code to enforce when you implement
a better way of saying that is a fact is something that we always know is true and don't care about being false. Versus basically, that's another thing. We tend to not really teach facts immediately. We teach them after predicates because it's often more used, basically because facts are primarily there to either simplify models or help optimize them. Most of what you do are actually predicates, which you say can be true or false. And in fact, with the predicate, you can say, this should be true for some nodes, but not all nodes. It should be true for some and false for others. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could probably ask whether any node is I want to say it has more than one parent. Whether any node is the ending point of the edge relationship for multiple nodes.
Yes, you could do that. Would you like me to type that out, or would you like to try it on your own? I'm going to suggest the former because I want to make sure you have time to sort of work on the project you have.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I think this is more just to sort of show you what, like, more of like how we idiomatically teach it these days.
Oh, great.
So you want to have more than one connection, right? That would be something like, and everybody else will see it in a second.
I can also give you screen control. It just might be a little laggy.
It's already so laggy.
Yeah, I think we've got enough going on that. And
yeah, it's
like
probably worth
N1.edge.
solving on it with multiple CPUs.
Yeah, if it takes advantage of multiple CPUs, then.
So that would be the predicate I sent to you. That should be it. I'm doing this all like all the time.
More than connection. Head. Okay, so this is all right. So a predicate is.
It's a Boolean function. It's a Boolean function.
Cool. So given a node, let's ask whether there's some
disjoint. Two different nodes.
N1 and N2 are different. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 2 nodes that are not the same, such that the input node, the node in question, is the object of the edge relationship of N1, and it has and the starting point. What are the technical terms for like the starting point and the ending point of the relationship?
So basically, we usually say the left and the right. So basically, because the thing is that the relationships, and you didn't get this in the material, are actually like distinct concepts. There is a concept of an edge as a relationship. So the left side of the edge is where it's from, and the right side is what it's to. And this actually lets you do some really crazy stuff, which I'm not going to go into unless we get to a showboating point later. Like you can reverse relationships, or like do a transitive reverse relationship to like find things that connect to other things. You can do a lot of really crazy stuff, but I'm trying to sort of minimize the amount of craziness I'm throwing at you.
So that says there's an edge from N1 to N, and there's an edge from N to N2.
Yes.
No,
from N2 to N.
Okay, from N2 to N.
Yeah.
So,
and then under that, I put an example of using the predicate where I'm saying for every single node, this should be true.
Oh, okay. Everyone should have multiple ones. But we're not saying it doesn't have to be, it can't be cyclic. So
yes, we are not saying that. Very good catch.
So this can only be true if we have cycles, right?
Yes. In fact, one thing we could do if we wanted is try running both, like check to see if that there is.
Whoa, is there an airplane?
Oh, sorry. So important clarification here. I live right next to a train station.
Oh, okay. Yay, trains.
Is it disruptive? If so, I can mute when I'm not talking.
No, it stopped.
Okay.
It just at one point Zoom was like, "Wow, that's an important sound. I'm going to transmit it." And then it was like, "Oh no, it isn't," and it stopped.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Okay. So.
Oh yeah, if there's no nodes, then all 0 nodes have more than one connection.
There's one. There's a real
one.
Okay. So now we have a couple cycles, and everything's pointing to itself, and everything's pointing to each other, so it's all symmetrical and nice.
Yeah.
And everything has plenty more than one connections.
Yep.
Everybody's look, it's cute.
It's very, very pretty. I like the colors.
And there's also customized theming, so you can make nicer like diagrams to show to people, or like do like partitions, or like sort of hide relationships that you don't really care about, or like turn relationships into attributes to like make things look prettier. There's a lot of ways to customize it, and then save and load customizations, which is really helpful when teaching, because you can just sort of like throw the theme file at someone and have them load it in. 5,
6. Why does it say there's 4 edges? Is that there's 4 edges other than these 2?
Oh, so those are the predicates. So those are showing you the things that satisfy that predicate. So it's saying that these 2 are examples of N1 in that predicate, and these 2 are examples of N2 in that predicate.
And that's a double edge. And what are these buggers?
Yeah.
And also there's these.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea being that if you say have a complicated predicate that involves like 4 different nodes, not only can it tell you that this satisfies that, it can tell you which of each elements are part of what part of the predicate.
It's like, look, I use this and I use this to satisfy the predicate for both the nodes.
Yes.
And then there's this other stuff.
Yeah. In fact, yeah, exactly. In fact, actually, I could show you themes if you'd like. If you click close evaluator. There's both a theme and a magic layout button. Magic layout will actually try to find a good layout for you. But over here, what we can do is click on relation. Oh, yeah, just click the magic layout, see what you like. See if you like it.
Oh, it made them eggy.
Yeah, eggs now. If you also see in the themes, you can click on the relation, more than one connection, in the relations bar. And then if you uncheck arc, show as arc, so you uncheck that, and you click show as attribute and check that. And now apply.
Oh, where's the
you have to apply the layout to make it work.
Where is the apply?
It's next to close and magic layout.
Over here.
Over there? Oh my gosh. Okay,
yeah.
I did not expect that.
So now it basically tells you it now actually shows it under the node saying that, yeah.
0, 1.
Yeah. So it's saying that the edge that for more than one connection N1 for that node, the N1 is 0, is node 0.
Which is this node?
Yes.
Okay. So it said, instead of drawing an arrow for that relationship, make it look like a property.
Yes.
That gives me the ID of the target.
Exactly.
Okay. And more importantly, you can change colors.
Yeah. You don't have all colors. There's only a set palette, mostly because like there's always been something more high priority than like adding a color picker. But one of the hopes that we have, or at least that I have, is that as more people start to use this, we can get more people contributing. And then we can start like making more aggressive tooling and like more customizations and more quality of life things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because as like someone who's interested in this for its for like actually using it, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to its its theoretical like contribution to the field of computer science, I'm much more inclined to contribute in the form of a color picker.
Yeah, exactly.
Which does not add to the mathematical theory behind the language, but does make it more fun.
Yeah. And so the main innovation of Alloy actually is that, would you like me to go into some history of Alloy?
Sure.
Okay. So formal method. So basically this Alloy is what's known as a formal specification language. It is a way to, specifically with Alloy, model like knowledge domains or model like systems and sort of find out properties, explore them. It's the first really big language that hit it off that was like really successful in this niche is called Z or Z. And it was actually, I believe, used to specify parts of the Paris transit network, I think. It's a European city's public transit system. It involved a lot of Z. The problems with Z were twofold. It had hundreds of symbols, it basically had dozens of symbols in it, often that you could not type on a keyboard. So it was very complicated.
Did it look like K or J?
Yeah, it was very like hard to learn. It had a lot of complexity and a lot of depth, and also it was really hard to write tooling for. It was a long time before anybody had any sort of validator. So Daniel Jackson, the guy behind Alloy, essentially tried to adapt Z in two ways. He wanted to make it much easier to learn, and he wanted to make it really easy to write tools for. And so essentially Alloy's main innovation isn't so much abstract theory, but in accessibility and UX. I mean, it has like a lot of really cool theory too, but there's a reason why like Daniel Jackson runs one of the user interface groups at MIT. It's something he cares deeply about, and it really affects how this language works. In fact, one of the really interesting consequences of that, again, he's one guy, one professor has a lot to, like, he can't do everything. But one of the consequences of this is actually that Alloy is designed so that way every single problem in Alloy can be translated into a single SAT solver problem.
Oh.
And that makes it actually incredibly fast to check. Things that would take hours can be checked in under a second in like Alloy.
So he's got compatibility with the SAT solvers.
Yeah.
And compatibility with, it's not that it has the best UI, it's that you can put a UI on it.
Okay.
Okay, he's not trying to be like a modern UI expert. He's like, this is a language that works with the UI.
Right.
And that gets back to the being able to work with Vim and Emacs.
Yeah,
and
which
being able to integrate with other existing tooling.
And for those of us who don't know what SAT solvers are.
Okay, so it turns out that, how do I explain this? So basically, imagine you have a bunch of like, okay, how do you explain what a SAT problem is? Give me a second, I'll think about this. Okay, so you know traveling salesmen? Yep. Like essentially if you have basically a bunch of like route. Oh, I was not expecting this question, give me a second.
Ooh, that's cool.
Okay, so there's a class of algorithms called NP-complete algorithms. Algorithms that essentially are have certain properties that all sort of are connected to each other. And it turns out that any property, any problem in this space can be translated into a bunch of Boolean equations, like A and B and C, and D and not E or F, and G. And a program that's designed to solve Boolean equations, to find some sort of mapping that satisfies it, that makes it all true, is called a SAT solver. And these days, these are incredibly fast, like doing tens of thousands of clauses easily. And a lot of formal methods tools can't use them because they often have to make things that are too complex for the SAT solvers. But Alloy is castable to SAT. Everything that you can express in Alloy that's valid can be translated into basically just a bunch of true and false statements.
So this would be like, you could think of a Sudoku puzzle as, is there one of each in the top row? Is there one of each in the second row? Is there one of each in the columns and so on? So you can translate that into a, how do I make these n squared or columns times rows statements true?
Exactly.
Okay.
I've read somewhere that SAT solvers were one of those problems that was proven intractable, and yet people found useful solutions for it.
Yeah, so it's so much. It's like we can't. So stat solving is what's called NP complete. We don't know if it's intractable, but we know that we suspect it is, and we know that almost every other intractable problem is about as hard as stat solving.
Okay.
So so basically it's a matter of like clever heuristics and lots of computing power.
Well, and
But
the part where you limit it, you specify the size that you care about.
exactly. And it turns out that computers have gotten really fast in the past 30 years, and stat solvers have gotten really good heuristics and lots of like low-level optimizations to the point where like it used to be a joke that if your problem was a stat problem, it was impossible. Now it means it's trivial.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's not perfect. There's always going to be like pandemic cases, but like stat, often a very common optimization these kinds of problems is, can we find some crazy way to turn it into a stat problem?
What? Okay, hold on. I need to quote you on that thing. It used to be that if a problem was a stat problem, it was impossible.
Yeah. Right, translatable to stat. But I mean, same thing, really.
If a problem was translatable to a SAT problem,
Yeah.
which is capital SAT, right?
Yeah.
It was impossible. Now that means it's trivial.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because computers are fast and we have better algorithms?
Yeah.
Better heuristics?
Mm-hmm. I think there's actually stat solver competitions these days to like make the fastest stat solvers, and like the sample problems involve like tens of thousands of clauses.
Wow.
Yeah.
And those get what's the competitive range of like speed that they get solved in?
I don't know. That's probably that's.
And how much money does it involve giving Amazon?
I mean, you're running Minisat. That's actually a really good one. Minisat.
Yeah.
That basically Alloy basically comes packaged with is actually a pretty fast one. So.
It's a little bit of a strain on Docker inside Windows. That's also
while running
running
Zoom
OBS and Zoom.
And OBS, yeah.
Yeah. But it actually sort of says, you can actually see down there, you see that little like 623 variables, 52 primary vars, 817 clauses, 92 milliseconds.
817 clauses. Is that the Boolean clause? Boolean equations?
Yeah.
Wow. The first one where we didn't include any predicates was only 331. Entertainingly, I think the last one we ran was the more than connections. Mm-hmm. And that has fewer clauses than the no cycles. Slightly.
Optimization and Booleans and like stats is dark magic to me, so I know like a bit about the history and concepts. I couldn't tell you much about the specifics.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm like, I love that other people work really hard on this. I'll just
yes.
do things.
So you mentioned being interested in trying to apply Alloy to your current Darkline project.
Right. So, so we have this thing that we'll probably implement the first version of it in Dark, but Dark doesn't have types. And as soon as we wrote we did this event storming on the wall under the
I saw fuck you on the wall, so.
Oh, it's fuck off.
Oh, fuck off. Okay.
That's the event where someone tells our system they don't want any more emails. Leave me alone. So that, right. My instinct, Avdi's instinct was to start writing some code. Mine was to start making some types. Mm-hmm. But Dark doesn't have user-defined types. So it occurs to me that actually like Alloy as a modeling language is even further in the direction of what I wanted out of the types, which was to express like what I'm trying to say here and the relationships between the different things, the different what will wind up being
relationships between the different like events.
Yeah,
things.
well, and which one is a thing and which one is a relationship? Because I've read somewhere in one of the tutorials that sometimes you wind up finding out that those are switched, which is interesting. Okay, so I wanted to make some signatures and stuff for what we had here, because I only got as far in the tutorial as like sig fact assert, but I think I mean, even just SIG, I ought to be able to say something about this model without going any further.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in our app, do you want to describe the app? Oh, do the pitch. Do the pitch.
Pitch me. And I'll tell you whether I'll say either I'll buy 1, I'll buy 10, or I'll buy 1,000,000.
Yeah, so you know how there are all those friends that you
Wait, let me get a monocle somewhere.
oh, Mon-
You might want to get closer to the mic.
yes. What is that?
I think it's a
Is it a lid?
it's one of the, what are they called? Ramekin?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
right.
a ramekin. An eye ramekin.
Yeah. Okay, so our toy app is you know how you have all those friends that you want,
All of my friends with so much money.
right, with so much money, and you're always wanting to get together with your investor friend. Well, you always want to, like, you know, you're always like, yeah, I totally want to catch
railroad barons.
I
Sorry.
now you're just distracting me.
Sorry. I'm making you bigger.
Oh,
All right.
thank you. So yeah, like these people that you want to catch up with, like you're like, yeah, we should totally catch up sometime. Like we should, you know, we don't live in the same place, or we're under a apocalyptic, you know, lockdown, so we can't like get coffee, but we should totally have a Zoom sometime. And then you don't. We want to help with that.
And you don't because scheduling sucks.
Right. You don't because
Yeah.
scheduling sucks, and scheduling has too many options.
Ugh.
I think is the biggest thing is
Okay,
that
yeah,
scheduling.
too many Boolean conditions.
Yeah, I guess you
Actually,
could
yes,
translate
because
them to
scheduling
Boolean.
is NP complete.
Yes, scheduling is totally one of these problems, see?
And yeah.
Yeah.
And like you know, people will force them through themselves through the email scheduling dance for business, but nobody will do that for just like a hangout with friends.
And Abdi used to have his assistant do the scheduling, but then he felt like that was really impersonal.
Yeah.
But it's much more personal if an app does it. Well, it's very personal if it's an app you wrote.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically this, like, you basically put in the times you're free and it tries to find times that works for everyone.
Yes. I mean, our thought for like the MVP was there's one time slot. Do you want to hang out with someone that you have expressed interest in hanging out with on a Tuesday at 7:30 for MVP?
Okay.
Because otherwise, we'd need like a calendar
Yeah.
picker.
And that is just a
that's
hell.
how to scope. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, just like it. We want it to get to a point where it's really just like yes or no. It's not like pick a time. It's just yes or no.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll buy 10, but only because I don't have 1,000,000 friends.
So what the event stream that we wrote up was like somebody signs up and they want to invite their friends, and so we give them a link to send to their friends.
Okay.
And their friends can come and opt in. They need to opt in to a person they'd like to hang out with, because so Avdi's the initial user here. So Avdi sends invitations to you, say, and you, Hillel, decide, yeah, okay, I would like to hang out with Avdi. And yeah, I'm
On a
good for
Thursday night at
Tuesdays
7. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
7:30s. Yeah, I can't.
On a Tuesday night at 7:30.
I can't hear you through that.
You can't hear me through
Yeah,
this?
that's better.
Oh yeah. It's really better for close.
Right. So the
Wait, is the stream still going?
should be. I did not stop it.
Okay.
Well,
I think it's,
apparently 89% skipped frames detected over the last 2 minutes.
Maybe it doesn't like.
Haha, monocle kill streams.
Maybe it doesn't like it. The Zoom video being big. Maybe we should be small again.
All right. Yeah.
Is it better when we're small?
We'll find out. Go back to the. Oh yeah. What happened to the screen share?
Oh, I turned it off so that we could be bigger.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But we can go back to it. That's fine. Okay.
Probably just our internet cutting out for
Anyway,
a minute
so-
like
so-
it does.
Hillel, you opt in for a time slot and a who you're interested in, and you could go back and invite more people. So since you and then then on Monday, say, it does some scheduling and it matches people up and it suggests a hangout to them. And then they opt in or out. And then there's other stuff involving asking them questions about whether it was a satisfying, uplifting experience. But since you mentioned that the scheduling itself is NP complete, maybe that's the part we should start with modeling.
I think honestly, model the part that you find interesting.
Okay.
You're using a new tool for the first time. Model the stuff that you find fun.
For sure, yeah.
What do you find fun?
I still have no idea how this applies.
Okay. All right. So I want to be able to express what we put on the wall.
Okay. So I'm going to say two things really quickly. One thing that's sort of in favor now, and one thing that makes it a bit trickier for this problem versus other tools. The thing that's in its favor, I think, is that you cannot just express types, but you can also express concepts. Like you can express the concept of a person indistinct from the person's type. So you can, for example, express in your model the person, the person decides to move across the country.
Oh, there it is. Okay, this is where I wanted to be. Okay, so it has trouble with time. But I could do things like, I could say a person has some friends. Yeah.
And some time zones some time slots they're good with.
Exactly. And that can be a set of person.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Today I this is not me. The lagging is making typing fail.
Yeah.
And time
you'll need a comma here.
Okay, a comma after person.
Yeah. I actually, the way I like to do it is I put commas before stuff. So I'll put I use commas like bullet points.
Can you put a comma at the beginning? Will it
yes.
be happy? Oh, good.
You can put 10 commas at the beginning. It doesn't care.
But they're not white space.
No.
But it doesn't mind having lots of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some friends and we've got some free time. Do you camel case?
So usually we camel case signatures and undercase relationships.
Or no,
yes.
What's the squashed one? What's the squashed one?
Squashed what?
Camel case, is that snake case with the underscores?
Underscores.
Yeah.
Underscores is snake
Dashes
case.
is
Yeah.
kebab.
Kebab case.
Kebab.
The best case.
Yes.
The best case is kebab case, and the worst case is non-breaking space case.
Oh no.
What you can do in Ruby is great.
You can do everything in Ruby.
Non-breaking space case.
Okay.
So we could do that, and a time slot is just a thing.
Yep.
I don't need to care what time it is.
Yeah. So, and here's a new feature that you can actually use with here. You can actually generate a model right now. You don't even have to put a run in. It'll just automatically give you an example model if you hit show. There you go.
Okay, now we're gonna have trouble with Windows. Instance. It's probably this. Here it is.
Yep.
I'm gonna bring it up. Come on. I touched you. Come on. Come on.
I can. Oh.
There it goes.
Zoom is like me.
All right, and then we can push next. Time slot.
Yep.
There it is.
Nope. Nobody, just a time slot.
There's a time slot. Okay. And that's fair. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
It would be legit for us to have in our database a time slot. And that would be reference data. And no people.
When you're just starting out, yeah.
Yeah. So I could do things like say, come here, give me this, put the focus over here. It refuses. This is a pop-up. Maybe. Hold on, I'm trying to close this window.
Yeah, it's not happy.
I wanted to close it. Can you make that window close?
Yeah.
Maybe. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Except it didn't actually go anywhere.
That's weird.
So, fun fact. With Auto Hotkey, I have a special button that cycles through just Alloy windows.
Nice.
and one that cycles through just like Vim windows is great. Again, auto hotkey, best. It's amazing.
Yeah, this seems really
It's a little horked.
frozen.
Aw, man. I'm going to have to type this again when we restart.
God.
I'll just type it in on Zoom really quickly.
Cool.
Once I remember where the Zoom chat is.
Dang, sweet castle.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
all right. Here you go.
Horked. Close window. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Well,
no, even closed windows.
It throws exceptions sometimes. That's not even weird.
That's. I've actually never seen it throw exceptions like that. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's probably just like the doc. It's like there's so much stuff going on that is causing an issue, and again, I tend to run it from like the jar. So. Yeah.
Wow.
Enum fun let open pred.
Freaking still running. Like the window's still there, even though it's not running anymore.
Oh, it's there. Wait.
Let's get rid of the X server for a minute.
Oh, good idea.
I just sent you the signature you have so far.
Thanks. Next time we'll probably install Java.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you don't have Java already.
He may.
I mean, I've been pursuing Jess's strategy lately of I don't install every single programming thing. I just use Docker.
Yeah, because for instance, at least this compiles with Java 8. I'm not sure why. I don't see. They're like Gradle only works in Java 8. I'm like Gradle works in Java 14, but your Gradle may only work in Java 8. But I'm not touching that. But anyway, different things require different versions of stuff, like Java, of runtimes and compilers, and I am not going to fight that. I'm willing to have one version of something installed on my main machine, but nah, it's just Docker.
Yeah.
You can have exactly the version you want. I picked a Java 8 container. Yeah. Okay, so now we can go to the chat. Come here, Zoom. Give to me the chat. Oh, is the mouse working? This mouse has issues. I ordered another one. There it is. Okay. So we had a time slot and some persons. Copy. And the thing is that, okay. Yeah, there we go. So we could also have, in addition to friends, we could have like, the question is, does the friends relationship mean people that have opted in? Because, oh, no. Okay, so you could say Hillel is your friend, but you might not be Hillel's friend. So we could ask for examples of this. We could ask for examples that would meet the requirements for a hangout. And the requirements for a hangout are that there exists some disjoint person 1 and person 2, which are persons. Good thing it doesn't mind extra commas, but it also, I can't type, I mean, whatever. It's not receiving typing input correctly. Such that P1 is in P2.friends, P2 is in P1.friends. And there's a time slot, T. We need a time slot for the hangout. T : time slot.
Oh my God.
It's really bad. I swear I didn't hit those keys twice. It's just
it's just like
really
doubling
excited.
them up.
Yeah.
Friends, not P11 and not PP2. That actually matters. Those are syntactically important. Friends. Typing is hard. I wonder if I should probably type this in the Zoom chat and then cut and paste it in here. People and there is a time slot T, such that T is in P1.free_time. Oh my god. Okay. Control C, Zoom chat, Control V. Up. Oh, I lost it. No, it didn't put it in there. It didn't. You can copy out of this window, right?
Yes, you can. You can copy out of the window.
Control C. It may not be reading my copy. Okay, there it is. Okay, so now I I just use the
Free tummies.
Zoom chat because it's here and it can listen to typing.
TP1.free tummies.
Okay, tnp1.freetime and tnp2.freetime. And I can fix that here. Okay. Did I get that right? Okay, and say I want an example with exactly 2 people in it. I could say for 2, right?
Well, yeah, I think you'd have to write for exactly 2. No, it's for 2.
Well, I've already said there's
exactly,
P1 and
yeah.
P2, so.
Yeah, but I could give you yeah. And you're going to actually, instead of writing P1 and P2.friends, comma, you write and.
And, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix this down here. So we use and for all of these?
Yeah. In the clause. So basically commas are basically, yeah. There's a shorthand for this to like make doing that simpler, like a bunch of different clauses, but I'm not going to introduce it just yet.
Okay. Up, paste. Avdi, I'm going to order a faster computer.
Oh yeah, this is going to be
expense.
Well, we might need we might with the native Java might have some better.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably better, but executes the latest command. I think I pushed it. I think I should wait.
It's giving you an error, it looks like.
Where?
I see 2 errors here.
Oh, do we have something off to the side here?
Maybe, but
yeah, I'm thinking this thing.
Let's see the errors. Oh, that thing. There are.
Yeah. Basically
P1
the 2.
Highlighted.
Yeah.
The 2 commas.
It's the 2 commas, and also the PP2.
Oh no, the PP2.
There's that, and there's that.
Okay, hit execute again. Starting the solver. Instance found.
Okay, let's see what it finds.
Touched instance. There it is. There's an extra time slot, but that's cool. We said there could be 2, so there's 2 time slots and 2 persons. And they're friends. That's back and forth. And they have the same free time.
One good thing to have is to click next a few times to see if anything weird crops up. Because like basically as you click next, more and more weird models start appearing, and then you start to see, oh, that's an interesting thing I just noticed.
Oh, person 0 is friends with themselves. I don't want that to happen. So I would probably make a fact that no one's friends with themselves.
Yep.
And that is something that I would expect.
You should probably do this in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah. That is basically enforced. I don't have to worry about. Also, here's a quick tip, and this is only valid for facts that are very specific, like very specific. What's the word? Not undefined behavior, but like you can actually put a string between the fact and the curly brace as a means of like giving your fact a better name.
Like, do I need to put it in quotes or just name it?
Yeah, just in quotes. So you can write like fact, begin quote.
You are not your own friend.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to hang out with yourself.
You have terrible self-esteem.
Such that P in P dot friends. On the other hand, it's going to be like all the time you're going to be in the transitive closure of P dot friends. Because you want loops there.
Is friends mutual? Is friends something that you want to make sure is mutual?
No. Because Avdi can say he wants to talk to you. And if you ever later say you want to talk to Avdi, then it'll just work because Avdi's already said he wanted to talk to you.
So then you aren't necessarily in your own transitive closure. In fact, maybe we should check that.
Yeah, you're not necessarily, but you could. It would be normal for you to be.
Yeah, it is possible for there to be cycles.
Yeah, like the
And this is all stuff we could quickly check using the model checker and the model finder. Basically, like, oh, is this possible? Yeah, let's see.
Okay.
Is there a case where it holds?
Yeah,
is there a case where this doesn't hold? Yeah.
I did a very specific run Okay, so there's the fact that you're not your own friends. So now if we execute again,
You have to close the curly brace for time slot.
full of hate. Oh, I've deleted something. Okay, thanks. Found an instance. Click that. Turned red. That's something. Is there a window I'm missing?
Instance found.
Here it is. Okay, now we don't have that person-person relationship.
Oh, I think this is the old window, I think.
It reuses it.
Okay.
So now we have more time slots, but I don't see any people who are friends with themselves.
Yeah.
So we've just like eliminated a lot of valid cases that the model checker doesn't have to worry about.
Yeah. In fact, actually, there's making sure that nobody's like having no self loops is so common that there's actually a very fast pattern that people use. I'm not expecting you to use this. It involves the relational syntax, but it's basically like this is like shows like the cool stuff you can do. It would be like no. This sort of shows like some of the power you can do with like Alloy and like understanding how the model works. So I just dropped that in the chat. An example fact. No ident and friends. So what happens here is that ident is the relationship that maps everything to itself, and is the set intersection. So what that's saying is that there was no intersection between the transitive. Oh crap! No, that's wrong. That's completely wrong. That's no cycles of. That's no cycles of any kind.
Right.
Then this is just no self loops. It says there's no
there you go.
There's no like intersection between identity and set of friends. So the first one basically. The first fact forces essentially friends to be directed a cyclic graph.
So, right.
I'm not.
But I could say, is it possible for Avdi to not be friends with any of his friends? Is it possible? Which would I mean, in that case, you'd never make any hangouts. But
the friends can make hangouts with each other, but you can't make hangouts with them.
Is it possible such that every P person, no, I don't have to say that. I want to say, is it possible such that no ident and caret friends? Because that would say we're not going to find any hangouts.
Yeah, I think, lag happened.
Yep. Come on, lose the extra D, backspace. And we can label this as boo because we don't want that to happen. And then we can Alt X and run boo and get some instances and look at them someday.
And it's giving you instances on the side.
It is?
Yeah. There you go. Oh, I'm trying to switch between looking at the Twitch and this. Yeah. So this is a person who has nobody. It's just this one person.
They have a lot of free time. Okay, yeah, and these are sets, so you never get the same time slot twice in them. One person with no free time. One time slot with no people. I can't tell the difference if that is another one. I still just see one time slot with no people.
You might be thinking because the pop-up's still there, like
this thing. Oh yeah, good point. Let's wait for it to like recover. Okay. What do you think, Avdi?
I am still a little bit lost, but it's
I'm very happy. It shows me something that I can like connect to what I have on the wall. I'm like, there's people and there's time slots, and it draws the relationships between them, and then it can find. I mean, with that first run statement that we did,
Maybe click it again.
It's just frozen again. It's frozen. It's dead.
okay.
But we did see, like, it create and locate an instance of something that we could choose as a hangout.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
You could also, if you want to do something like generate 2 people who, one fun thing you could try doing if you really want to is like 3 people, each of which can hang out with one of the other people, but they all 3 can't hang out at the same time. If you wanted to start like doing weirder stuff, but yeah.
But I can do things like start sig hangout. So I could define a hangout as something.
Use the Zoom chat.
Let's start typing. Sig hangout such that so for exactly 2 people, I actually probably want to say person 1 and person 2. So I'm gonna call it initiator and person and the other person that they initiate to.
Mm-hmm.
If it's your job to make the Zoom.
Wait, is that something you want to encode though? Is that something that you want to make explicit in the model that they are distinct, that there must be an initiator and a receiver?
I mean, it's not a piece that we talked about before.
Interesting. Interesting.
It was but it was in my head before.
Yeah, it was in your head. So there we go. There's a little piece of disjunct.
There's some
model.
usefulness there.
Yeah.
Because in the MVP, I would expect the hangout invitation to be like, Avdi, you're gonna start a Zoom to hang out with Hillel. Because in the MVP, this app is not gonna integrate with Zoom.
Right. Yeah. MVP is just. Oh, okay. So you were thinking of like assigning that role to one of the individuals.
Yeah, because that's part of a scheduling problem. I don't need you and Hillel to be like, will you make a Zoom? Will I make a Zoom?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So at least in the MVP, I do want to be able to say these are 2 people.
So like host.
Host. Okay. And guest, I guess.
Yeah.
That goes with host. And time slot. Or when. Well, no, that's not true. It has a time slot, which is a time slot. It's also going to have a particular date, but we haven't modeled that yet. An instance of a hangout will have like a week. This is the 14th week of 2020, kind of thing. If time slots are weekly. But
so you're so interesting. So you're saying not just that we basically pick a date to hang out, but we pick a schedule to hang out, a recurring sequence.
No. Well,
no.
Maybe.
So there's 2 places. Actually, for the scheduling part, for the part of the app that's doing the scheduling, it is only doing a scheduling for a particular week. So that's not something it would model.
Yeah, so it's at least that part is recurring is out of scope for this. I guess.
Okay, in that case, you don't even need the week. You probably just write time slot and just say like, yep, different week, same time slot, still a different time slot.
Yeah.
Which I guess also makes sense because like sometimes I'm available certain days of the week at certain times and other weeks not.
Yeah, you would want to be able to like opt out for particular weeks. But when I picture the scheduling runs for a week. Based on and so for a particular run of the scheduling, you don't have to care what week it is. That gets tacked on at the end when you create kind of a suggested hangout thing that passes to the next phase of the application, which would track so and so and so and so might meet at this time. And when it starts asking you, it's asking you for a particular week, which is this week. And at that point, it knows what week it is. But for the scheduling purposes, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's already within 1 week.
I sent you a small utility thing that under this model you might find useful. It's a function that lets you get you like the people in a hangout.
Oh, that's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the function gets people in the hangout. All right. So, that's a set of persons, it's not explicitly 2 people. I could say, let's
Well, the Hangout's isn't going to enforce that it's going to be 2 people because the host and the guest. Well, does the Hangout enforce it's 2 people?
We do want to say, the Hangout wants to enforce that the host and the guest are friends with each other, which in combination with you not are your own friends would have that effect if they're not the same person. So it'd be fact, we hang out with our friends, would say that for every hangout H, do I do like that? For every hangout, is there a short way to write they're each other's friends? H.host in H.guest.friends and H.guest in H.host.friends.
Yeah, that should work. There's probably a more elegant way to write it, but it's not immediately coming to mind. So, I mean, there is a way to write it, but I'm not going to tell it to you because like it'll just sort of send us down like a side path. And I think right now you're getting close to something interesting.
Okay, and
So
we can say fact.
Well,
hang out at the same time.
Well, actually, let's actually, before we add a new fact, let's try the following. Can we check that all Hangouts involve exactly 2 people?
Ooh, okay.
Because our rules should enforce that, but we don't, like, our rules should enforce that by implication.
So it should always, yes, okay. We should always say that for every Hangout, and then I need to say the size of Hangout people is 2. How do I say that?
Maybe I'd probably do something like, so like for all H Hangout, actually one way to do it is basically I could say the size of every Hangout is 2 for all Hangouts. Also, the stream just froze. It's lagging right now, but for all H Hangout, like the number of the size of Hangout people is 2.
Oh, okay. So I say equal to, and I put the number sign in front of it.
Yeah.
Like that?
I can't really see.
Look in the Zoom chat.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Zoom chat, but like it's not. I think it's.
That's because I have to send it. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm seeing it on the stream. I'm just like lagged a bit. Yeah. So close.
Okay.
Just 2 changes. You have to put an all before H.
Oh.
You have to put just say that this is true for all Hangouts, and then you also have to instead of writing with parentheses Hangout people, you write with brackets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And this is because, brackets are used for function calls and predicates.
All right.
Yep, that is correct.
So I throw that in here on my assert.
Actually, you can just write check. You don't even need to write the assert part. Just write check.
And then like for how many?
However you want, yeah.
Cheek.
Chic.
Or 5.
Yep.
That seems to be
I think by default it does 4, so you don't have to write for 4. It'll just automatically choose 4. Yeah. So now if you run this check, it'll.
Can I give it a name or do I need to do the label thing?
You have to do the label thing. Names are only for facts.
And SIGs and asserts.
Oh no! So SIGs and like asserts and like functions and predicates all use tokens. This is just a label. It doesn't actually give a name. It's just a label for the analyzer.
Okay.
And to make it like life easier for you.
Syntax error.
So let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So all H Hangout.
Okay. All. Now I can say yo. Check yo for 5. No counterexamples found.
Okay.
It agrees that it's always 2.
Now actually comment out the fact that we hang out with our friends.
What's comment //?
//. Or // also works. And now if you execute this, it should find a counterexample, right?
Where you hang out with yourself?
Let's find out. Yep, and let's see.
It's coming up, maybe.
Maybe.
Or maybe we have to switch windows.
Come here. Come on, Windows. You can do it. Oh, it did it. Oh my goodness, it's super complicated.
Yeah, because you put the 5, it basically assumes that you want to be looking around like for more complicated models.
Okay,
If
so
you put like
let's
2 or 3, it should be fine. It should.
yeah, it should find a case it too.
Um,
Right.
mhm.
Uh,
In
so
fact,
generally you
that's
want to
pretty common.
reduce.
Like finding an example, and like sort of like winnowing it down to try to like find examples that are like easier to parse.
Mhm.
We need to,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Oh, I need to click counterexample. Oops, I clicked the wrong counterexample. I need to click this counterexample. And then I need to pop over here. And then I need to bring this up. Aha! Here's a hangout where the host and the guest are the same person. They have the same time slot in their free time. We didn't
Yep.
put that check in there, but it's one person.
Mhm.
And yeah, so our indeed we see that our fact of people hang out with their friends eliminated that case as expected.
Jazz hands.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, I'm happy. I'm good.
I'm happy.
Mhm.
Hopefully the stream mostly worked, and hopefully the YouTube is better. And
So if you want to continue, that's great. If you'd like, I could also tell you some previous examples of stuff I've seen done with Alloy.
train.
Yeah, train. So if you'd like, I could give you some examples of stuff I've seen people do with Alloy, both like clients and like friends and stuff, if you would find that interesting.
Avdi.
Or I can answer any questions you'd like. I can do that too.
What was the question? What was your question?
Oh,
Basically,
what was the
like
question?
it sounds like that you that was basically your goal for the for in terms of trying to write Alloy code for your model, was playing around with that degree. So I'm happy to keep going with that. I'm also happy to answer either any questions or give you like insight into some of the stuff I've seen people do with Alloy. Whatever you'd find most interesting for you and the stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think, my biggest question has been like, I want to kind of like, okay, so we are deliberately, knowingly applying this to a problem that I don't think somebody would normally apply it to. It's
Yeah.
it's a fun little social app that doesn't really need rigorous checking. We'll probably discover, I guess, most importantly, we would discover any real problems with it. It would not hurt us to discover the problems with our model in production. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're looking at me quizzically.
It would not hurt us to discover the problems.
This is
a
not
risk app.
What?
Yeah,
What?
like this.
Sure,
There's no
sure.
risk. Like okay, doing an alloy model adds work. Like that's true. It adds work to, and like now. Okay, you're looking at me funny. I think maybe you're thinking that it reduces work.
Yeah.
And I think both of you are right.
Specifically, it reduces rework.
And I think both of you are right here because again, neither of you know Alloy. Like you're still learning it, and that's point. There's basically initial investment there that's considerable. One thing I found is that for like relatively simple apps, you spend less time. Like the bugs you find are definitely more shallow, and they are faster to fix. But also, you spend less time modeling in the first place. So it can still be beneficial, but that might not be enough to amortize the cost of learning Alloy.
Yeah.
Like it might be beneficial across multiple projects, but if you're just using it for one project and it's this kind of project where like is the one thing you plan to use it for, then it could very likely be that it won't be worth your time to learn. It's more of like, I find it more interesting as a general skill because I've found it applying a lot of different places and found it useful in a lot of different places. But that doesn't necessarily mean that in any given one place it's going to be useful.
Like for the cost. Okay.
Yeah.
Not going to be useful considering the cost of
Learning it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like my question about like where it's used is I kind of want to understand sort of where is the overlap between where and how much is the overlap between the sort of apps that I help people with most of the time and the sort of problems where Alloy is mostly applied. Or
can you give me some examples of the kinds of apps you help people with?
I mean, so I spend a lot of time in the sort of Rails enterprisey world,
Mhm.
enterprise slash consumer oriented web applications. Um, a lot of apps that are used to manage some kind of organization.
Mhm.
Um, the I guess I'll say that most of the like I'm not going to say that the problems that developers spend most of their time on aren't modeling problems, but if they are, they often have more to do with not seeing eye to eye with the like not understanding the business point of view as opposed to like, oh, that was never supposed to happen.
I see. So essentially, requirements issues where they didn't quite understand the requirements, or there was a miscommunication there.
Or the business didn't understand. Well, I don't want to say didn't understand.
The
The
consequences of their
business
requests.
has not considered this particular corner case in the context of the software.
Right. So first of all, actually, I got my start in the Rails enterprise world too. I was first applying TLA plus to Rails applications. TLA plus for the stream being a different problem that's much more oriented towards modeling like distributed systems. We were basically at a legacy system that like talked to iPads and a third-party vendor, and like it was causing weird like concurrency bugs, and we used TLA plus to like fix all those. Now, in terms of Alloy, some stuff that are similar that I've seen it used for that might be close to what you're looking for. One of them that I actually thought was really interesting was at a larger company, and again, I'm not going to really say any names, and I'm going to sort of anonymize details, where it was a fairly large company that was moving to Agile, and they were using it for sprint planning, because what they found was often
For
happening
what? They were
was
using what?
sprint planning,
Sprint
where
planning.
like you'd have like a product owner who would request a change to a product, and that change would actually require changing a backend service that then affected a different product on a different part of like that product manager's team. So it created this thing where like they were finding unintended consequences
Huh.
of like changes. But this was like for a larger scale enterprise like legacy Java system. So I thought that was probably the most unique thing I've ever seen it used for. Other things I've seen it used for was basically mapping out how they map between essentially a vendor's like understanding of like the conceptual schema of like vendors saying, okay, yeah, here's how we're going to be sending you bills and here's how we're going to itemize things, versus how they were internally like tracking the bills and itemizations to sort of see if like there was the proper mapping existing. And in that, they actually found that there were certain things that the vendor was assuming that they were assuming were the opposite. And they were actually had to sit down with the vendor and say, okay, these certain things, do you actually follow them or not? And they got straight answers that helped them sort of like work through what the issues were. I think one of the people in the chat, Jay, actually did a Strange Loop talk where he used it for authentication protocols, basically authenticating between like services and making sure that, although that's more of like a microservice thing, I believe. Another thing I've seen it used for is actually one of my favorite examples is like you have groups and groups have authorization access to certain like items like privacy settings. But privacy settings can inherit from other privacy settings to say like, if you can see X, you can see Y. And groups, you can say, okay, you can have subgroups of groups. But then you get into situations where like a privacy setting has a subsetting, like friends accept, and then that is applied to the supergroup, but the super rules apply to the subgroup.
I wouldn't want to think through that individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would want to be like, is this going to work?
Mm-hmm. And then one last one that I think was interesting was basically somebody who was, I think it was like a mail thing where like people had addresses and forwarding addresses and also corporate addresses and virtual addresses. And they're just trying to make sure that like how they were sort of storing the addresses they were sending to clients was like sane, if that makes sense. And they were just like generating these models like, okay, so this forwarding address goes to the corporate address, which actually is virtualized to this home address, which is itself forwarded. And it's just like, can we just tell people we do not support this case?
Put it in the fine print of the user agreement that they'll never read.
Yeah, so it definitely has use cases, especially things that involve like concept modeling. It's mostly not been applied in that space, more because the people who invented this were academics who are more just in like security policies and memory mapping. But that's not because the tool isn't useful, it's because they didn't really have that perspective on industry needs. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And it's hard to like have that perspective on industry needs because every industry need is its own thing.
Yeah.
And you can come up with examples, but it's not as abstract
Right.
as security or authorization.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like to focus on business case, like and business modeling, because I won't necessarily be able to find a problem that maps to everybody's needs, but I think I can find enough problems that show people, oh, he's clearly applying to all these different spaces. Maybe we can apply it to our space once we learn this better.
Right, right. Because you do have to apply it to your own.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's not even really that I expect to find problems in this. It's that I want some way to express it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Alloy might be a very effective way to express it that incidentally can help us come up with valid and invalid cases.
The saying I like is that most of the model checking happens in your head.
Yeah. What I want out of this is the way it squeezes the specificity out of my head. Because otherwise, especially if I just sit down to write code, I can write some code. And you wanted to write the code because it forces you to find problems, right? Because that's another way of squeezing specificity.
It forces me to
find
out things that I haven't thought about.
Yeah.
Right. And this does that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different set of things.
It's a different
Yeah.
There's some overlap, but it's a different set of things.
Yeah.
And honestly, one of the things I found is that sort of with the new wave of formal methods people, like the people who like have been inspired in the past few years from like my work on TLA plus and Alloy, and like I believe like Lauren and like Jay's work at sort of popularization, they tend to really like what we call defense in depth, where it's like, okay, we know like these formal methods tools, we know TD, we know test-driven development, like we know acceptance testing, we know like property testing, we know client discussions. Like it's sort of like trying to pull in as many different ways of approaching the problem as we can, and sort of seeing how each one works to sort of as part of like a holistic process. Like I will heavily model things out and then sit down and write first test. Okay, write the minimum amount of code that passed the test. Write the second test, write the minimum amount of code that passes the second test, and try to use everything like holistically.
Yeah, and Alloy is one of those tools.
Yeah, it's a tool that solves problems that we really don't have tools for, but it doesn't solve a lot of problems that we do know how to solve with other tools, and that's fine. It's there to augment and help us. It's not there to replace. It's not there to replace things. We are not selling magic to you. We are a tool that we know its boundaries and we know what it can do and what it can't do.
Nice.
Yeah.
You happy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anything else I can help with?
No, this was awesome.
Yeah, glad to help. This was a lot of fun. Yeah.
We did the thing. Good job.
And of course, let me know if any of you have any questions. And should I be advertising like my website? I don't know.
Oh yeah. How can people get a hold of you?
So I'm on Twitter at Halelogram. I'll just drop that in the chat.
The chat won't stay with the video.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very ephemeral.
So I am at @Halelogram, Hotel India Lima Lima Echo Lima Golf Romeo Alpha Mike.
Right.
Halelogram.
Graham.
Yeah, I actually have been using voice for writing a lot, and I've had to learn the native alphabet for that.
Wow.
Dragon, it's actually really nice. It's definitely made me like much more prolific. I have a website at hillwayne.com, same as my actual name. And I do consulting services where I teach workshops for companies. I'm probably going to be having a public workshop in June, my first like public workshop in a couple of years.
Yay.
Online for Alloy. And I mean, I like writing. Find me on Twitter, find me online, and that's pretty much all I have.
His newsletter's really good too.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Computer things. Yeah. There's a link to that on my website.